Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today on Masechtas Rosh Hashana Daf Dalid, we are going to begin on the very bottom of Gimel Mid Beis with the words Maskif Lu Rav Kahana. Rav Kahana asked the following question: Mihichmitz, is it true that Koresh at any point actually had a change of heart and that his actions became wicked or that he soured in his ways? So we were discussing that would be the answer to a stira, that at one pasuk we find that Koresh is counted his malchus from the month of Nisan, which is just like Jewish kings. So we said that if you are a melech kosher, then you're counted just like a Jewish king from the month of Nisan. However, if you've come from Umas Olam, or in this case, someone who went against the proper path, that Koresh apparently did when Ezra ascended and went up to Eretz Yisrael, so at that point, he's now counted from Tishrei. The Gemara says, is that really true? The pasuk says, we continue to down with Aleph, he seems to be extremely generous. He says as follows: Ma chashchain uvnei toirin v'dichrin v'imrin alvin lelukah. All of these different animals, whether they're bulls and goats and sheep, all of them should be given directly to Hashem, as Rashi says, Koloimer Koma Shechfatzim HaKohanim Tnu Lahem Mishali. Whatever the Kohanim ask for, give those animals and let them come from me, which seems very generous. And he says, Shemai Chintin Malchamor Mashach Ke Meimar Kohanim, that you should go and provide all wheat and salt and oils, anything that the Kohen asked for. Make sure that you give this to them every single day. That you should do it without any fail or any element of delay. So it sounds like he's actually been very, very generous when the Beis HaMikdash was rebuilt, that all these different things, whatever is needed for the karbanos, for the Jewish people, will be given. So how could you tell me the hichmetz? Some Rabbi Yitzchak, no, Rabbi mitunach. I am able to explain it from your load, says Rashi. What does that mean? Mimishal cha sheba'asa leinu hashivenu ani mashiv chatshuva. I'm able to actually answer you from the very same pasuk that you think is a question. I'll show you based on this pasuk that he wasn't really so great, even though he made this seemingly nice offer. What did he say? That a person, that you should go and be mocked of all these different libations and sacrifices, Shemaya to the God in heaven, and by doing that, and that I should be able to be saved my malchus and my children. In other words, when he was doing this and giving, it might have looked nice, but it wasn't doing l'shem shemayim. Rather, he had personal motivations. He was praying for himself. Please pray for me. Pray for my family. So that's not good, and therefore he was not. It's not a raya that he's good. And he says, 1 second. Man di'avad hachi lama yusahi. Okay, fine. You may not have the best of intentions, but if you give something, that should be nice. But it says, however, a person says, sell zula sadaka. I'm giving this money b'shmil shichyu banai, based on the schus that my child who's sick should have a refuah shleim, or b'shmil she'eskibol chayom haba, should get a portion of the world to come. Harizit tzadik gomer. So how could we say that having the wrong intentions that is totally not good? So where is the kasha? How do we understand that? So Rashi explains as follows: that when it comes to Israel, shalibul shemayim, even before he gave, his heart is designated and directed to Hashem, and therefore the marine loy b'chayev enu koyelo tigor. If it turns out that things don't work in his favor, he's not going to end up having a claim against Hashem. He'll say the reason why these problems are happening is because of my own mistakes. If, let's say, he doesn't get exactly what he wants, he's going to start claiming it's not me, it's against God. So again, this is the mentality that a person can have of not accepting responsibility for oneself. V'boy seima minolan di achmet. So that's one answer. This is going to answer question 2. Question 2 asks, minolan di kurish nasa Russia bachrisai. So we saw 1 is because he gave, even though he gave, it was with the wrong intentions. We're going to see 2 other answers to this question. So how do we know? The pasuk says, again quoting the Sefer Ezra, it says, Nidbochin di Evin Galal, that it'll be regarding these 3 rows, Galal Talas, these 3 rows, V'nidbach di Cha'ados, and regarding this wood, V'nifkasa min Beis Malka Tisyahiv, so that we should be able to build the structure of the Beis HaMikdash with these wooden walls. It sounds very nice that he was willing to donate all of this beautiful wall in order to, for the Binyan Habayis. So Lemle David Hachi. The question is, why did he choose this? Savar, he thought, Imardu bi, if the Jewish people have a problem and they start rebelling, then Akli Benura, I'll just light it on fire. So he specifically used wood with the intention of destroying it in the event that things don't go his way. So again, obviously, even though he gave wood, or wood was used in its construction, he had a negative intention. Ought to what? Shalom Lavid Hachi. Shlomo Melech did the same thing. Shloisha Turi Gazis, there was 3 rows of stone, Vatur Krusai Sarazim. And it says that there was a row which was cut with cedar wood. So Shlomo also built with wood. So why are we saying the Kairish was so bad? Shlomo did the same thing. Now Shlomo avad milamala. Shlomo did it from the top. The Yehu avad milamata. He did it from the bottom. And therefore, if you're going to catch a flame, you want it on the bottom. Shlomo shake bivinyana. Yehu lo shake bivinyana. So Shlomo was engaged in his building, but he did not have this intention with its building. Shlomo sadi basida, Yehu lo sadi basida. Shlomo fortified it, made it stronger, and he put plaster on it. However, Karish didn't, and therefore he didn't put plaster in order that it should be destroyed at will. Rav Yosef Yitema Rav Yitzchak Manolan the Achmetz Mahacha. He gives a third answer, and this one is a little bit hard to swallow, but this is what the Gemara says. V'yomerli Hamelech, and the king said, V'hashegal Yosheves Etzlo. There was this Shegal that was sitting next to him. So my Shegal, what is that? It almost sounds like Shegal. So Omar Rabba Bar Larlima Mishmei Rav Kalbata. It's actually a female dog. So he had a companion of a dog. So what's wrong with that? So Rashi says it's Lamishkov, that he actually was engaged in bestiality with an animal. So what? Why is that a problem? So Rashi says, "V'nei nayach who's haru akach, shenemar b'hoyel basar echad yotze behema v'chayim ba'ov shein nasin basar echad shein yodin min ha'adam." So anything in which is not with a human being, or obviously a husband and a wife, that is a prohibition of b'hoyel basar echad. Okay, so that's actually a Torah prohibition, even by B'nai Noach, is usher to engage in bestiality. So that's the third thing that Karish did. So the pasuk says, "Val more shemaya his rumamta," said that when it comes to all high in heavens, you'll lift yourself up. Uminyane di baisa, and the kalim, the vessels in your house, the yosef kadamach, which are in front of you. Yant Rav Noach Shigalasayich Chena Soch Chamra Shatayin Behoin. Now it mentions this Shigal in this pasuk. So the Gemara asks, "Vid Shigal Kalbata." If this is actually a dog, Kalbasa Bas Mashti Chamrahi. It doesn't make any sense. It's saying that this Shegaltaich was engaged in Chamra Shasin behind. They drank wine. A dog isn't one that's going to be consuming wine. So obviously it must not be referring to a dog. No, halokasha. That's actually not a problem. The malfala v'shasya. They actually taught his dog to drink. So he, in fact, even though it's seemingly something which a dog would not normally do, but he actually taught the dog to drink. The pasuk says, "Benois malachim mikorosecha." The daughters of kings will honor you. Nitzvah shegal liyamincha, that they'll stand a shegal to your right. The kesem oifir, with these jewels. The shegal kalbatav, it's a doggy. Makom avaser hu noble Yisrael. What type of nice compliment is this person being said? It's hard to understand. How is this a compliment that a Navi would be saying? The Hakkamer. The schar shechaviva Torah Yisrael. The fact that we love Torah so much, keshegal oivdi kachavim, as much as kachavim like and have a connection with his dog, zachisim lekesem oifir. So we will merit this special jewel. Maybe the word shegal is actually not referring to a dog, it's referring to a queen. And when it came to Rabbi Bar Lima, who made this statement, he says it's all based on tradition. This whole concept of what we're saying here. You might call it shegal. Shahaisa chaviva love keshegal. It just means that he loved her as much as one would love their dog. Inami shahishiva b'mkoim shegal. That he put her like by his side. Iboy say menolan de achmetz mihacha. Pasuk says ad kasaf kakrin ma'ah, which is a certain amount of money, kikr kasef, of 100 of money, v'ad chintin koirin, until like a core of wheat, ma v'ad chamar batin ma, and the wine in your house is also this measurement. V'ad batin mashach ma v'malch diloy kasav, and salt without limit. And mikara b'lo kitzutza v'hashta b'kitzutza. Originally, when he was offering things, he was offering things in a unlimited way, and then afterwards he became a little bit more stingy, and he said only a certain amount, but not more. Okay. How do we know originally that he was confident in with a specific amount? So that's not really an answer. It has nothing to do with the fact that originally he offered an unlimited amount, then a limited amount. That doesn't necessarily reflect someone who did anything negative, and therefore we have to revert to the other answers, which, as we said, which is question 2 over here. Either the fact that he gave money and karbanos to be brought, animals to be brought as karbanos, but not l'shem shemayim, or that he wanted the binyan beis hamikdash with wood so that he could burn it at will, and third of all, because he was miyachid with this kalbatah, according to this third shot, and he actually had relations with this dog. Fine. Weiter. L'regolim. So we said also when it comes to the regolim, the holidays, it also is based on the month of Nisan. So regolim, the echad Nisan, who regolim is the first in Nisan, the chamisha also in Nisan, who. What does that mean? Pesach doesn't start on the first day, even though we say Yachim Rosh Chodesh. But the truth is, Pesach is the one that regolim. Fine, it's in Nisan, but it's not the first of Nisan. So why would you say Rosh Hashana for regolim is on the first of Nisan? So Rav Chisda regel shaboy, Rosh Hashana regolim, means the regel that's in it is Rosh Hashana for regolim. So it's basically just saying it's referring to the holiday Pesach, which is in the month of Nisan. So nafkamina when noider, when mekam alei b'bal ta'acher. So there's a requirement when you make a neder and you say you're going to bring a carbon, you have to do it with alacrity, with speed. You can't wait 10 years to do it. If a person waits too long, and we'll see how long is too long, you violated Bal Ta'acher. Rav Shimon, this Mishnah is like the Shikar Rav Shimon. It's on here. Echad ha-noider ve'echad ha-makdish ve'echad ha-mayrich. Whether you made a neder, or you makdish an item, or you said an erchin upon the value of myself, Kivan she'over love gimel regalim. Once 3 holidays, the Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot pass, oiber bal ta'acher. Now, apparently that means in any order. It could be let's say you made a neder, then all of a sudden Sukkot is here. So then you have Sukkot, then Pesach, and Shavuos, and then that's it. You violated bal ta'acher. However, our mission is like Rav Shimon. Rav Shimon Omer gimel regalim kisidron b'chag hamatzos b'tchila. That it has to be the first one is because saying Rosh Hashana for regalim is Pesach, namely when it comes to starting bal ta'acher. So if you made a neder right before Pesach, you have Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, and that's it. If let's say you made a neder a couple weeks later, in the middle of the Omer, right? You're in the middle of Pesach just finished. So then you count Shavuos, Sukkot, then Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot. It has to be in the order of the Chag HaMatzos, the Chag HaShavuos, the Chag HaSukkos, respectively. V'chein ha'yer Shimon ben Yochai Yomer regalim pa'amim gimel, pa'amim dal, pa'amim chamisha. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 5, as we said. Ketzad. Nodal if you have Pesach, if you made a neder right before Pesach, gimel, then it's 3. You have Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot. You violated bal ta'acher, because that's the order. Lifnei atzeres, if you made it right before Shavuos, or between Pesach and Shavuos, chamisha, because you have Shavuos, Sukkot, Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot. It's 5. Lifnei chag arba, before Sukkot, then it's 4. You have Sukkot, Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot. Tarabam. Chayvei ha-domim v'arochim ha-charomim v'akdeshos chatos v'shamos os v'shamos tzedakos ma'asos b'chor ma'asos Pesach. So there's a lot of quoting over here. Let's see what Rashi says first. Chayavi ha-domim. So all these different obligations of money. The person says, Domei alai, I will pay my value, or charomim, which is chermi gavoa, again designating something to all high. B'chor meiser, when you talk about meiser, we're talking about meiser behema. When it comes to all these different donations, giving tzedakah, Pesach, the carbon Pesach, as we continue to Daled Amud, the din is also by leket shichan peya. Leket shichan peya, which we'll see, kivan she'avar lehin shleish regalim. You're supposed to leave these 3 things, and if you, when it comes to all these different things you're supposed to give, then oiver b'bal ta'acher. Fine. So it's not just a carbon, maybe a one particular type of carbon. There's numerous different areas that you're making certain promises and vows. So you're oiver b'bal ta'acher. Shimon Omer shosh regalim kisidron. Again, it's 3 in the order: Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot. V'chag hamatzos tchila. Rameir Omer, he disagrees. This is Kivan she'avar lehen regel echad oiber bal ta'acher. Very strict opinion. Doesn't matter what holiday it is. If one holiday comes, because you're coming to the base of Mikdash, and you should be able to bring these karbanos then. So if you don't, you're over the first regel. Rabbi Elazar ben Yankov Omer Kivan she'avar lehen shnei regalim oiber bal ta'acher. If you do 2, which is a little bit more lenient, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon Omer Kivan she'avar lehen chag HaSukkos overlaying b'bal ta'acher. So if, let's say, you made the neder right before Sukkot, and then Sukkot comes and goes, then you violated it. So my time in the Tanakama. What is the reason of the first opinion that says you need 3 regalim? Apparently in any order. So Michni says like this. Minayhu solik lomuli lemeder. The Torah already spoke of all these regalim, so why does it need to be repeated? Umichtav the Chag HaMatzos, the Chag HaShavuos, the Chag HaSukkos. Why does it have to say it that way? Shema Minah, L'bal Ta'acher. It must be coming to tell you that if you skip all 3, then you violate Bal Ta'acher. Rav Shimon Omer, Rav Shimon, who says it has to be in an order, says yeah. Rav Shimon Omer, Enu Sarchel B'Chag HaSukkos. It doesn't have to say that. Shabo Dibur HaKosav, so Lomedem, or Lomer Shezeh Acharoin. That has to be last. Namely, it has to be Pesach, then Shavuos, then Sukkos. Rameir, who says even 1 regel you're over, my time, when you go to the base of Mikdash, you're supposed to bring karbanos. So if you didn't, then you violated because you were supposed to do it. Rabbanan who say it's not just 1, so it's even more. So how does he do this? What does he do with this pasuk? Hahu la'aseh. It's coming to tell you, as Rashi says, the mitzvah saseh level haviu beregel rishon. Preferably, you should bring it on the first holiday, but if you didn't violate Baal Ta'achar according to him. Rameir, Kivandi Armeli Rachmana, Aisi, Lo Aisi, the fact that the Torah says bring it, and you don't bring it, Memela, Kamli Baal Ta'achar. You violated a negative prohibition to write that in there. Rabbi Lezer and Yaakov, my time, what's the reason Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, who says that Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, who says that it's 2 holidays, 2 are going. Dechsiv, Elotasol Hashem b'muadechem. Muadechem is in Lashon Rabim. So mi'et muadim shnayim. The least amount of muadim in the smallest amount in plural is 2. Therefore he says 2. Rabbanan, who says it's 3. So what does he do this pasuk? Ahu, look at Rabbi Yonah. The Rabbi Yonah hukshu kol hamuadim kulam zelazeh. When you compare all these holidays together, shekulam mechaprim al tumas mikdash v'kedasho. If a person either ate something while he was tameh, or he went into the base of mikdash while he was tameh, so all of these holidays and the karbanos therein are mechaper for these different things. It says Rashi, this quotes the Gemara Masechta Shavuos, says as follows: Itzrach leimer shekol seiri harigalim. All the goats that are brought on the holiday, mechaprim al tumas mikdash v'kedoshev. Yalpin meseder Rosh Chodesh dechsib be lases es aman ha'eda. Okay, so again, that's what it's coming to teach us, that the seir harigalim is mechaper. Okay, so that's what we learn out from the Shita of Rabbi Yonas and Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Shimon my taima. The sign Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Shimon oimer lo yomer chag sukkos shabo diber kosta. The pasuk's already talking about sukkos, so why does it mention it? Loimer lomer shezeh goyrim. This is what causes it. Now there's only sukkos, so therefore, again, if it was right after sukkos, you have to go straight through a whole year. If it was right before sukkos, that's it. Right after sukkos, you violated Baal Ta'achar. Rameir, Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, Hai b'chag hamatzah, chag hashon, chag hasukkos, maya dar shubei. What do they learn from that? Miboyle, look at the Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Oishim. Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Oishim, Minayin, let's say, Sheishma, Sheishma Tashlumin Kol Shiva. How do we know, just like when it comes to the other holidays, there's a din Tashlumin, even when it comes to the holiday of Shavuos, even though, again, by Sukkot and Pesach, it makes sense, the pasuk talks about V'chag Goyisam Oisel Chag Lashem, Shiva Shamim, because it's 7 days, which is referring to bringing the Shalmi Chagiga. So if, again, person didn't bring it then, says Rashi, V'yata Chagi Kol Zayin, Im Kim Loma Nemer Zayin, What Tashlumim? She'im Loi Chag Chagigasai Berishon, Yakri Ben B'Sheni. Not only when it comes to Pesach and Sukkot, which there are 7-day holidays, so, but Shavuos, which is not a 7-day holiday, still you could bring, there's a Tashlumin for it as well. Tam Loimer B'Chag HaMatzah, Chag HaShavuos, Chag HaSukkos, Makash Chag HaShavuos, Chag HaMatzahs. Ma Chag HaMatzahs Yeshel Tashlumin Kol Shiva, Av Chag HaShavuos Yeshel Tashlumin Kol Shiva. So it's a chiddush. That's the chiddush that when it comes to even Shavuos, there's Tashlumin all 7. The Lakish L'Chag HaSukkos. So why don't we make a different hekesh? Malho and Shmoyna Avkan Shmoyna. Why don't we say Sukkot is not 7 days? We have Shmini Atzeres. Raren says no. Sukkot is really 7 days. Sukkot Teishu Shem is Yomi. We have this 8th day. And the Shmini is Regel B'fnei Atzmahu. It's a completely separate holiday. Aimer de Amrin and Shmini Regel B'fnei Atzmo. When do we say it's a separate holiday? Only in Pazar Kashav. Only referring to this acronym which is brought down toward the end of Masechta Sukkah that says that there's Pazar Kashav. First of all, Fayis, Lapar Haba Mishmini, the Nukar Lafi Seder HaMishmaris, Shabo. So there's a whole discussion exactly how it's done, because there's 70 parim that were brought, and there's 24 mishmaros, which means everyone brought 3 cows, excluding 2 mishmaros. So it's possibly that one of those 2 mishmars that only brought 2 and not 3 would have to do the lottery, or maybe the entire lottery starts all over. That's Fayas. Shin is the shear. Let me see if I can find this in Rashi. That there is a separate song, and the Resh is regel. It has a different regel because it has a different name. It's not called Chag HaSukkos, it's called Shmini Atzeres. Kashav, carbon. It's a different carbon than the rest of the time. The carbonos, as instead of, goes from 13, 12, 11 to 7. Here it's par echad, ayel echad, it's only 1. Shin is is Shir, which I said before, is Zion is actually Zman, that we say Shechianu on Shmini Atzeres, which proves it's a separate holiday, as opposed to the last days of Pesach, which we do not say Shechianu because it's considered to be a continuation. And then Beis has to do with the bracha. Let's see, Rashi says, bracha, la'atzma b'varchinan, hayu es ha-melech, zecher l'chanukas habayis, we give a special bracha to the king, etc. In this lengthy Rashi. The point is, the whole din that Shmini Atzeres is separate is dafka pizar kishab. Avol inyan tashlumin di'ri hakol tashlumin derishanu. Everyone holds it's connected to the first one, as we learned in Masechtas Chagiga. Did not mishal chag yom tov rishayin shel chag chagigas kol regal. You can make again the bringing of the Shama Chagiga all holidays v'yom tov achar shel chag, even on Shmini Atzeres. So again, the question is, if the tashlumin is even on the 8th day, so then it makes sense. Why would we say it's 7 days for Shavuos? Why don't we make it 8 days? Just like Sukkot, there's a tashlumin on Shmini Atzeres, in the 8th day, so too here. So the answer is tefasta merubah tefasta tefasta. When you can choose between 7 and 8, we're going to always grab the smaller amount, which again, of course, is Pesach, which is 7 days, and not Sukkot's day. Elomai hilchasa kasver rachman l'chag Sukkos. So what is this connection? Lakshuli l'chag hamatzos, to make this hekesh to Pesach. Says as we continue to hammer it off. Ma chag hamatzos to onlina, av chag Sukkos to onlina. That just like on Pesach, there's a requirement of lina. Says Rashi, leil chol shemoyed. You can't just leave right after Yom Tov that night, but after you have to sleep over. So too when it comes to Sukkos, the same din. By Pesach, there's a requirement of lina. You should stay over until the next morning and then go back to your tent. Which is mashma, you should at least wait and not just leave immediately after Yom Tov. You should stay one more day. That's by Pesach and also by Sukkot. We're going to stop here. Let's see a couple questions. Question 3. Hama'achar nidroi imosei oiber b'la bal ta'achar regolim b'loi shana. So there's more than one answer to this. According to Tanakama, 3 regolim. Rav Shimon says 3 regolim has to be Kesidron, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot in that order. Rav Meir says 1 regel. Rav Yaakov says 2. And then Rav Shimon says B'chag Sukkos Bilvad, that we say that Sukkos is Goyrim. That's what causes it. That was question 3. Question 4. Shoishapam b'shana b'chag hamatzos chag Sukkos chag Sukkos. Man nilmud shehukshu hachagim zelazeh. The pasuk zeh. What do we learn out from these different psukim? So we said we learn out from regarding Chag Shavuos that there's tashlumin all 7 days, just like there's tashlumin for the Shalmi Chagiga on Pesach, so too by Shavuos. And the second is we went out for Sukkot, just like by Pesach, there's a requirement of lina, so too over here there is a chiyuv lina. They have to stay over on Sukkot as well. Okay. Let's see over here. This is a question 7 on the 2021 test, which is, might as well share it. Why does he say you're over even just 1? Where do we see this? So he said, he quoted the pasuk that says, let me make sure I can find it. He says, Kivan de Omrle Rachman Aisi Lo Aisi Mimela Kamle Babal Ta'acher. The fact that the Torah says you're supposed to do it, and you decide not to do it right away, so then you're going to be over Bal Ta'acher right off the bat for that. Okay, that's that only question for that. A lot of them are duplicates. TA 18. Be'echad b'Nisan Rosh Hashana Regolim. L'mai hilchasa. So I guess the answer is just right. But Bal Ta'acher, let's see what he says. Le'inin Bal Ta'acher. The Moinin Gibur Regolim Mechag Hamatzos Krev Shimon. Okay, which was on Daled and Aleph. Question 19 that we'll see tomorrow, and TB 19. Mehem shitas atanayev denechu bekama regolim oiver al Bal Ta'acher. So he said this is the same question as question 3. That it's either 1 regel, 2 sukkos, 3 Shloka Sidrin or Dafka Kasidrin. Not Khan.